Hey everybody, it's Chad with Nobody Else's Auto. Catching up tonight. We missed last week. We were in Kansas City at World of Wheels, and try to start doing some of these, informational type videos for you guys. I hope they're helping. We did one a couple Sundays ago about just basic tips on how to find parts. A couple weeks ago we did eBay, and tonight we'll talk a little bit about Facebook. It's becoming such a big part of the deal anymore, and but it can also be confusing and hard to use and complicated, especially for somebody like me. Just trying to get the information. As always, if you've got any questions, throw them up there. Be more than happy to talk about it. Love having you guys on with me. And when we did the eBay one, I got a couple questions on a couple topics that I had forgotten to touch on. So your guys' participation can sure help some of the other people watching, hopefully. Anyway, real quick, one question we had, I went back and looked at the last couple of informational lives we did do, and I had a question about eBay user ID. My eBay user ID is very simple. It's Nobody Else's Auto. And like we talked about on the eBay video, a lot of times that username will tell you something. You know, eBay don't want phone numbers and things like that, but that doesn't always answer all your questions. So you can always, Google their user ID and see if anything pops up. That's why I switched mine to Nobody Else's Auto, because you can Google that and find me, even when eBay tries to block a lot of that stuff. So anyway, tonight let's talk a little bit about Facebook, since that's where we're at. Until we post this on YouTube. We'll post this on YouTube after we get done with it, so then we'll be on YouTube. Do I cut up sections of bodies and ship? Not anymore, really. The problem with cutting up structure that I've run into, and this is another good question, so we'll jump into it before we get into the Facebook stuff. Here's my problem with cutting up bodies, cutting quarter panels off, things like that. To cut a quarter off the car, I basically have to disassemble half the car. I've got to pull all the interior out of it, pull the trunk lid, bumper, everything off the back, then cut the car up. Then I've got to custom build pallets for it because they're too big to ship normally, and it's a ton of work. And it takes a ton of time. To do a project like that takes several hours, if not a whole day. So I've basically quit offering the service of cutting structure because, quite frankly, it's not worth my time. Everybody wants you to do it for peanuts, and there's so many hours involved that either I'm giving away my time or I'm giving away the parts to do that. So I can do it. I have done it in the past. I try not to, and basically what it amounts to is everybody freaks out when you tell them what it costs for the time, the labor, the parts, the crating or palleting, and then you got to tax shipping on top of that. So can do it, have done it, try not to anymore, and have gotten away from it for that simple fact. But that is a good question. Thanks for asking. Using Facebook. Facebook is great. There's a ton of good things about it, and it can also be a huge pain in the butt. Obviously, you can find anything you want on Facebook. I don't care what kind of vehicle you have. There's a group for it on Facebook. There may only be 10 people in it, but there is somebody else out there that likes what you like, and there's a group for it, which is great because the information that can be shared that, 20 years ago, you would have had to have subscribed to magazines, joined clubs, gotten newsletters, and to try to get some of the basic information. Today, we can jump on Facebook, join a group, and ask somebody in that group that has the same type of vehicle you do, and there's probably somebody on there that's had addressed your issue before. So that's great, and it's very helpful for things like that, which has brought a lot of communities together with these vehicles on people who didn't know what was out there or who to ask for questions. It's also great for guys like me. I can do what we did this afternoon. We went out and walked around the yard for 2 hours and interacted with everybody out there, and it was a blast, and I had a great time, and you guys see the stuff firsthand, what I've got sitting here. So there's a ton of great things about it, but it can also be a huge problem. And the biggest part of the issues there is just the misunderstandings that happen because of it. Like the live we did today was, it went a couple hours. We did have one snafu in the middle of it. We lost the phone in the middle of it. It just disconnected itself. So we had to stop, reset everything, and bring it back up. So, And we did it on the Nobody Else's Auto page, and we did it on the Nobody Show page also. And so there's 4 videos out there now, 2 on each page because of the phone snafu. Now, the problem with that now, and I just like, and anybody who follows me on here, every post I have says, call me, call me, call me, call me. Because you have to. There's no other way to do it. Those 4 videos, as of right now, have 300 comments on them. And there's still people commenting on them. There's no way for me to go back and track all that and try to figure out who commented during the live, who didn't, did I answer that? It's impossible. I mean, it would take hours just to try to sort it out. The other thing that I don't think a lot of people are aware of is a lot of these posts get shared. I've had people call me several days after I posted something and said, well, I sent you a question and you never answered it. And I go back and look at my page and try to find it, and it's not there. And I say, where do they see it? Well, they seen it on some page that it got shared to. They said, I saw it on this other page about trucks or whatever it was. So I'll type that page up and I'll bring it up. There'll be 20 comments on that share. Never saw them because that stuff doesn't come to me. I don't manage those pages. They don't come to me. That's why, calling me is so critical. On top of the basics of what do you have, what do you need, what are you trying to accomplish with your build, those are just the basic reasons you need to call me. But there's people that post all over Facebook that the original person who posted the ad never see because of the way they get shared. Plus, Facebook also filters comments. If they don't think your comment is that relevant, a lot of times they won't even show it to me. So there's there's comments that I never even get to me, even on my page. And I try to reiterate this to everybody I talk to. Just because you're posting it on Facebook doesn't mean anything to me. And that's why I've gotten to the point where I put my phone number in everything. I've had people call me and the questions they're asking me don't make any sense. And this is another reason to call me. And I sit there and wonder what they're talking about. And it's because they've been completely led astray by somebody else. And they're running down the wrong rabbit hole and can't understand why they can't find parts. Or they comment on Facebook and somebody gives them the wrong information. And then they're running down the wrong rabbit hole, chasing something that doesn't even exist. So that's why it's so critical, and that's why my phone number's on every post. And, if you text me off of it, that doesn't do me any good. They're again, texts are like emails. They're never complete. There's not enough information to work with. And also with text, I may have sent somebody pictures of something on a text 2 weeks ago. They never get back with me. You realize how many people I send pictures to every week? If it goes a week or 10 days and I never heard anything back, I delete them. I get texts all the time. They say, you still have this? I have no idea what this is because it was 3 weeks ago and I don't have any of that information anymore. So that's why phone calls are so important. That's why messages on Facebook don't work. I've shut Messenger off on my pages. The Nobody Else's Auto page and the Nobody Show page, Messenger's just shut off because they're never complete enough to work with. Then people are mad at you because you don't answer their questions when I can't answer their questions because they didn't send me enough information to answer their questions. So posting on Facebook is not that beneficial if you're really trying to find something. Now, and I do read some of the posts, especially like tonight. I went back through the last couple of these information lives and looked at some of the questions, and that's where I seen somebody was asking about my user ID, things like that. That's fine. If you want to comment like that or something, or if you want to throw something up there, hey, go walk around an international truck or something, that's fine. If you're looking for specific parts, it's impossible to have that conversation on Facebook. I do not look at Facebook on my phone regularly because that's what a lot of people say, well, you've got it on your phone. When I open up Facebook on my phone, the only thing I have it set up to go to are the pages I'm an admin on. If I'm not an admin on the page, I don't even have it on my phone to access it. I could fumble around and finally get there, but I use it to do videos and things like that when I need to jump on the pages and do videos, and that's what I use it for. If I had to stop and comment and respond every time there was a comment on Facebook, every time I got an incomplete text, every time I got an incomplete email, I wouldn't get anything else done. But if you call me, we can have that conversation, and in 2 minutes we can know what direction we're going, whether I've got anything that may work for you or not. And when you get into texts and comments and things like that, I don't have time. I don't have time to physically stop and type something in every time I get a text or every time I got a comment on Facebook. Like I said, in the last 5 hours, there's been over 300 comments just on those videos. it's not feasible. But I can have a conversation on the phone with you while I'm doing something else and say, yes, I may have something. No, I don't have something. It's real quick. It's real simple. It's real easy. So that's why I do it that way. And that's the only feasible way it really works. You know, I don't have time to play 20 questions on text. I don't have time to play 20 questions on Facebook comments. I just don't have the time, based on what we can do in a 30-second or 2-minute phone call. A lot of people ask me why I don't price things on Facebook. It's impossible to do that because a lot of situations are different. Yes, I have an idea of what I want for most things, but if I price something on Facebook and say this part is $100 in shipping, then somebody calls me from Sweden and says, I want that, and you said you're going to ship it for that, then I've got myself backed into a corner, and I just don't do it. It's because there's just too many different variables that play into that scenario. So that's why I don't price the stuff. I can't. There's just too many variables that I can't back myself into a corner on and get myself in a bind to do it. But if you call me, we have that conversation. We can figure it out real quick. It's real simple. So that's another little thing that I do on Facebook and why I do it. But the biggest thing that I really want anybody watching to take home and to share with other people is just because you're commenting does not mean I'm going to see it, and more than likely means I probably won't see it. Because if it's a shared post on somebody else's page, I'm not going to see it. And I don't have time to go look at everybody that shares posts and try to find different questions. And I love it when you guys do it. I appreciate it. And it helps me, and it also helps a lot of people that are looking for stuff. And that's important. It's important to have a good community on this stuff where we can work together and do that. And that's what Facebook is great for. But it is not perfect. And that's why there's got to be open lines of communication. That's why I'm doing these videos, because I'm hoping that it clarifies what I'm up against with some of you guys. So maybe you don't ever need to call me for anything, but if you call anybody for parts, this is good stuff to know, and hopefully it's beneficial to you. So best time to call on parts, usually 8 to 8 Central Standard Time. I'm obviously rolling well before 8, but typically 8 in the morning till about 8 at night I'll answer Central Standard Time is the best time to get a hold of me. So I always put the numbers on the pages. My phone numbers are in all my ads, whether it's Craigslist. They're in my eBay ads, although eBay does block them a lot of times because it's the only way to do it. Every single person I talk to has a different idea in their head for their project. And if I don't know what that is, I don't know what kind of options I got for you. And the thing about it that I bet a lot of, and I know some people run into this, but in today's world, I get calls not only from guys building cars, obviously, and like I said, are you doing a restoration? You doing a rat rod? You doing a patina truck? You're just trying to make a driver. Artists, photographers, event venues. I get those calls every week. This stuff is, as we all know, and anybody that's on here because they love old cars is on there for the same, understands the same thing. This stuff is art, and it's starting to be appreciated as art. So that is a realistic part of what I do now. Never in a million years imagined that it would be. Of course, I never imagined in a million years I'd be walking around looking at cars all day with 100 of you guys hanging out with me. So it is amazing what technology has done, and it is great. But it does not change the fact that you still have to have good open communication. And like we talked about on the first video, I gave you some examples of some of the emails I get, Y'all got any parts for my 55? There's no way to answer that. I can't answer that. You have any Chevy trucks? Yes, I have Chevy trucks. I don't know where we're going with that. So that's some of the stuff that is important to me, trying to help you guys on Facebook. And that's why the way I do it and how I do it. But the biggest thing is just remember, direct contact is the best. Just give me a call. And anybody that has a vehicle for sale, as I see them pop up all the time, you really want to go buy a car without talking to the guy, you have no other questions or don't want to know any specifics about it before you're going to go fly somewhere to look at it or drive several hours to go look at it, you're just going to send him a message and say, I'm coming to look at it. I would have more questions than that. So, don't hesitate to call. Don't hesitate to get a number and have that conversation. It's just as important for you guys as a buyer as it is for me as a seller. So that's an important part of it. So that's what I've got for tonight. Next Sunday we'll try to get into some Craigslist and some other different things out there that I do. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, like I said, if you think of something later, you can give me a call, or if you throw it up on here, I'll check this thread next Sunday before we do the next one. If there's any other questions about stuff, let me see if we got any other comments. I think that's that's all I'm getting for comments, at least. I've only gotten those few. So if you are throwing comments up there, I'm not getting them at this point. But anyway, we will let you go for tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us, and hope it was beneficial, and hope you learned something. I'm getting a few thumbs up, so I'm hoping that's a good sign, because I do appreciate you guys being here with us and having a good time, and hopefully we're all learning something. So give me a call if you got any questions. Check out the videos, and we will see you next Sunday. Shot some more stuff for Nobody's Show today. That will be coming out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night. Plus, we did a bonus video I'll probably throw up Tuesday night on the Nobody Show page. If you know anybody who's not on Facebook but is interested in what we're doing, what we're talking about, and what we're showing you, tell them to jump onto YouTube under Nobody Show. After I get off here, I am going to post the lives from the yard today on YouTube, and I will post this video on YouTube also. So thanks for being here tonight with us. Enjoyed it, and thanks for hanging out. Got any questions, throw them up, and we will see you next week. Thanks a lot, everybody.